This newest season of Mystreet might just be the darkest season we've ever had, and if I'm correct, which I'm hoping I'm not, this final season could have more tragedy and the possible end of the entire world. And it's all because of this light in the sky. The comet that was previously talked about in When Angels Fall, the whole reason why relics were ever made in the first place. This could be the start of the end. Hello internet, welcome to Aphmau theory. Okay, that's enough. So Aphmau just released a new teaser for the final season of Mystreet, and it looks amazing. For those of you that don't remember, Eren lost his memory due to the consequences of being turned into a relic, and this new season of Mystreet seems to be all about memories and trying to get Eren to remember everyone, and overall just celebrating the final season that we get to have with these characters, all fully animated. But a lot of things don't appear to add up. There are so many small little inconsistencies with this trailer that really don't make any sense. For example, why is Lawrence in Love Love Paradise? As far as we know, Lawrence wasn't really involved in season 2 at all and kind of popped in at the start of season 3. Also, why is it called One Last Time? And is it connected to the last episode of Her Wish? Why is Eren all of a sudden fine, but in the final episode of When Angels Fall, it was stated that he would forever be blind and scarred and could possibly remain broken forever? And what is up with this comet? Is this truly the last season of Mystreet because the world is going to end because of the comet? Or is there something more to all of this? And what about Aphmau's healing abilities? It was only ever shown once and never brought up again, so will we see it one more time, or is it just forever forgotten about? There are so many questions that I'm hopefully going to try to answer. I'm not going to answer any of these. I hope to start a discussion because there really is a lot to go over and I could really use the help with trying to figure everything out. So if you like what I do, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. I make a lot of cool videos and I really do hope you enjoy them. So what is the deal with this comet? And out of all the questions we have, why am I focusing on this? Why am I talking about this first? I mean, it's not even in the trailer, so why is it important? Well, that's because for the longest time we had nothing to do with this information. It was just sitting there on the shelf, and finally after like what, 5 years, we could dust off that little puppy, that was a lot of dust, and really dive deep into the lore. Ow, how does he do that? In the final episode of When Angels Fall, there's an after credits scene of Elizabeth and Zack talking, and we all know from our experience of Marvel that the after credit scenes usually give us a lot of information and massive hints for what's to come next. But this is Mystreet, not Marvel! Yeah, but Aphmau has done this before. At the end of season 4, the setup was that Aphmau will see Eren again, but only after a whole year. It's a really bitter ending as they all leave the lodge and drive home, uncertain about the future. This is when Aphmau asks Lucinda about how to cast magic, and then the credits roll. But then we get this extra scene after the credits of these strange characters buying the lodge, and we see young Travis with his dad, Aphmau's father, Garth and Zane's father, and even Eren's father. This scene isn't exactly the most important, but what it does do is introduce us to these characters that really did impact the story later on. Travis's dad is the one who housed the demon warlock, and it also showed that Garth and Derek had connections to everyone, and they were all together and planning something. So yeah, trust me when I say that we should definitely be focusing on this. In the final episode of When Angels Fall, Elizabeth saves Zack from the cannon and they talk a bit. We already know that they have been trying to plan out something for as long as their kids have been alive, but what was that plan? Elizabeth mentions that Michael, the demon warlock, was just supposed to turn the Ultima into a relic with the celestial cannon, and that's it. But for what reason? That's when Zack says that they lost their way and the ends don't justify the means. Elizabeth then lashes out and asks if he's alright with the limited time they have left.
I really don't care about the plan anymore. I'm done with all of this. Somewhere down this path we lost a part of ourselves. The ends did not justify the means. And now, I intend to get back what I lost.
So you're just okay with the limited time this world has?
To further support this, in episode 13, Hala mentions that the point of the celestial cannon was to protect the world from celestial objects that threaten it, but it needs power.
The celestial cannon. Its purpose is to protect the world from celestial objects that would threaten it, but it needs power in order to operate. Its power relies on the souls of every living being below the cannon. It uses soul to cultivate them into a greater essence.
Now with this information, I think we can assume that Elizabeth, Zack, Garth, and Michael found out about the world ending, and the whole plan was to use the power of the relics and possibly the Ultima to fight back against the comet before it was too late. It's unclear if the plan was to always use the Ultima, since Derek seems very against using his child in the experiment, but it definitely was the plan as time went on and Derek stopped seeing them. And I assume the one that had to absorb the relic had to be the demon warlock, and I think it was ultimately his plan from the start, because he was the only one that was ever powerful enough to house a relic relic and to use it, so I think he was the only one capable of stopping the end of the world. But obviously, as we see, things don't go to plan at all. The Demon Warlock had ulterior motives, he was much more evil than anyone anticipated, who would have guessed, they literally called the Demon Warlock, and now the world will fall because the Celestial Cannon is in the ocean, and they have no way to stop the world from ending. But if that really is the case, then why is the teaser trailer so happy? Why is it not focusing on any of this? There isn't even mentions of the comet at all. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the comet isn't anywhere here. The only place that it shows up is the poster. Does that mean that the trailer is misleading? I don't know. I mean, it's clearly showing that it's gonna be all about Eren remembering everyone, but that might not be what the whole season is about. Let's take a look at the exclusive poster that was being sold at the Aphmau booth at VidCon. It appears to show Aphmau standing in a snowy area, and it also shows that she's following the comet, and there's this flash in the distance. This could be the final moment as the world is about to end, and Aphmau stands there, alone, just facing the comet. But why is she alone? And no offense to Aphmau, but what is she gonna do against it? It could just be symbolism that Aphmau is now alone, and as the world is nearing its end, it's just gonna be her. But if that's the case, then that's really dark. I'd rather not believe that is the case, because like, yeah, that's not a way to end the show. So yeah, let's look at more clues. Let's take a quick look at this logo. Once again, the comet is very prominent. It's right there at the top. But Aphmau is wearing this weird mask. It looks like a wolf mask. It's hard to say what this could mean right now, but I do have an idea, and we'll talk about that a little later. Also, the name is weird. For those of you that remember, One Last Time was the last episode of Her Wish. Her Wish being the last thing that happened in the Mystreet timeline. So why are the names the same? Well, fun fact, I actually asked Jess and Jason this question while I was at VidCon, and they told me that this was very intentional. So how and why are they connected? Is it just to tell us that Her Wish is canon? I mean, we already knew that, so that can't be it. Is it because the final season is supposed to come right after this episode? We pick up right where we left off? I mean, I guess that makes sense, but it really doesn't. Her Wish is very clearly the last thing that happens in the timeline. Eren remembers Aphmau, they're living together, everyone seems to be happy, and they're throwing parties, and it's Christmas. This is the end of the series. This is the happy ending that they fought towards. But in Mystreet One Last Time, Eren doesn't remember anyone, so it's very clear that this isn't a sequel, it has to be a prequel. So why is it connected then? There are even more strange things to consider. Why does Eren wear his eye wraps in Her Wish but does it in One Last Time? This is really weird, especially when they flash back to scenes of season 1 of Mystreet, and lo and behold, Eren isn't wearing his eye wraps at all. And why is Eren not blind? It was very clear that Eren lost his sight and his memories at the end of When Angels Fall. And in the final episode of Her Wish, when Eren and Aphmau unwraps the present from Elena, he has to ask what it is because he obviously can't see. Also in episode 2, there's this scene where Dante comes in and Eren doesn't know who he is. Not sure if it's because he couldn't see him, or he couldn't figure it out by the voice at first, or it was because he just didn't remember Dante at all.
Hey, Eren, I need to ask a favor.
Who are...
Got any wrapping paper?
You've literally just missed the last roll we have.
Actually, here's an even stranger question. Is Eren even still a werewolf? The reason I ask this is because in episode 3 of Her Wish, Eren is making chocolate chip cookies with Elena. And Aphmau comes in, she starts bantering with him, and Eren specifically says that he made a non-chocolate chip batch for her. Not for us, not for him and Aphmau, just for her.
Don't worry, I saved a non-chocolate chip batch for you.
Now, maybe Eren is just not gonna have cookies or doesn't like cookies. I think he likes oatmeal from what I remember. But I still think that this is a very odd thing to include. Another reason why I think that Eren is not a werewolf anymore is because in episode 1 of Her Wish, he tries calming down the dogs, but they refuse to listen to him. Because maybe he's not a werewolf anymore and no longer the alpha? I rest my case. To further proof this, in Mystreet One Last Time teaser trailer, I mentioned that Eren doesn't wear his eye wraps at all in the season 1 scenes. But what's also strange is that in the season 5 Starlight scenes, Eren is never shown with his werewolf ears and tail. Even though in Starlight, it's the only time we've ever seen him like that, so why is he not shown as a werewolf in any of those scenes? There's other werewolf characters who clearly have their werewolf ears and tail, but why doesn't Eren? This is me in the editing. I just noticed this is actually season 2 Eren and not season 5 Eren. Season 5 Eren's jacket is purple, not red, while in Level Up Paradise, that was when his jacket was red. So yeah, this is the wrong Eren model. Not sure how they didn't notice this, but yeah. That kind of hurts my theory though. But yeah, cool. So I'm gonna ask this one more time. Is Eren still a werewolf in the final season? And what does all this mean for the future? Well, here's my possible theory. The last time we saw Eren, he was so badly fucked up. My boy was blind, covered in scars because his girlfriend stabbed him a shit ton. And on top of that, he had these black marks called void burns. but the next time we see him in the trailer, he's completely fine. Bro is so fine he ignored his fiance. Now, I'm not gonna doubt the world's best medicine, but there's no way that they would have completely healed up Eren to make him look like a brand new man. Like, look at him, he's so beautiful. When he was first in Starlight because he got stabbed a shit ton, he had the best doctors but was still covered in scars. And now he has void burns on top of that, so clearly he should just look like a fucking corpse. I swear bro should look like Dobby from My Hero Academia. Eren should be covered in scars, so why does he look fine? I'm sorry to say, but Eren should not look like this. But wait a minute, I do know of one way that scars can be healed. Do you remember back in episode 5 of Starlight? Aphmau literally uses her power to remove one of Eren's scars. So, what if she does that again? I always found it very strange that this was introduced, but it never had any sort of payoff. This was the first and only time Aphmau has ever done anything like this, and then we just move on. She does it once, and then she never does it ever again. And fun fact, one of the questions I asked Jess and Jason was if Mystreet One Last Time was going to be more like season 1 and 2 of Mystreet, or if it's going to be more like Emerald Secret and When Angels Fall and all that. And they specifically told me that it would start off like season 1 and 2 and have like comedy and fun moments, but as the episodes go on, it'll be more like Emerald Secret and When Angels Fall. One Last Time is not only the last season and final celebration of these characters, but it's also going to tie up all the loose ends and pull everything together. And if they really are going to try to pull together everything, then that means that Aphmau's healing abilities will somehow come back in a major way. And I think that she possibly heals Eren completely from all of his scars. And maybe, this is going to sound insane, but even heals him from the very curse that's been holding him back. But how would that be possible? The last time she tried healing Eren, she was completely worn out. But that was before. A lot has happened since then, and Aphmau was able to harness so much more power than she ever has been and even formed the image of Irene. I think to some extent she was able to awake to her true power, and I'm almost positive that Aphmau heals Eren from his curse of being an Ultima, which is why she could be seen with the wolf mask on the logo, because she took it away. She removed his curse. She completely healed Eren, and that's why when we see him, it's like he's brand new. But is that really true? Every clue we have is so disconnected. We have so many pieces that are all over the place. We have a story about Eren trying to remember his fiance, a story about the end of the world, images of Aphmau alone facing the comet, Aphmau having a weird wolf mask on the logo. There is so much information, and what do we do with it? Here's what I think. Let's get the big one out of the way. Why are the names the same? Well, I think since this is the final season of Mystreet, and as I said before, Aphmau wants to tie everything together, and also, fun fact, also try to get every single voice actor who has ever voiced in Mystreet back in the final season. I think the names are the same because we will eventually get to that point in her wish. Remember how in Aphmau's year every episode had a time skip? I think that'll be the same case for the final season. Unless somehow Jean, Ivy, Daniel, Cadenza, and all those characters magically pop up in a short amount of time and just move in with everyone on the same street, then yeah, obviously if Aphmau plans to bring back every character in some way, then I'm positive we're gonna jump around a bit and eventually get to the point where we see Elena and maybe see what happens afterwards. Or it could be realm theory. Let me explain. So I will admit that this idea could be possible, but it lacks a lot of evidence. But it's still interesting to think about, so I'm going to point it out. It also kind of ties in really well with my other theory on why Aphmau has the wolf mask, which is cool, but anyway, yeah, anyways. So why I especially think that all of this could be a different realm is because Lawrence is here in Love Love Paradise. And that's pretty much the only reason. No, I'm just kidding, there's more. I mean, yeah, this could just be the case that they wanted to include Lawrence because, yeah, this is the final season. We're going to include everyone in some way, shape, or form that's ever been in Mystreet. So Lawrence is there, and there's obviously other stuff that supports this theory. For example, I mentioned that Eren no longer seems to be a werewolf or an Ultima because he doesn't cover his eyes. But also this scene where Aphmau has awakened to her power, for some reason Eren is standing beside her when that shouldn't be the case because he was turned into a relic to give Aphmau this power. So maybe in this realm, he was never turned into a relic and maybe was fighting alongside Aphmau. Or it could be a symbolism thing, I don't know. So maybe this is a realm where Eren never suffered, and maybe that's why they both have that name, One Last Time. It's because they are the same story, but ending in different ways. Yes, that means that one of these stories has a bad ending. Does that sound crazy? Because it kind of is. But why is Aphmau in another realm? Is she aware of this? Maybe, I think so. I think that because Aphmau was able to tap into her Irene powers, she is now changed, and she did exactly what Irene did. Irene found a different realm and latched onto it because it was a happy ending that she could never have. I think maybe Aphmau does the exact same thing, and that's all because of the song that plays over this trailer. For those of you that don't know, Aphmau actually specifically requested Loving caliber to make this song. This song is called Wouldn't Change a Thing, and it's about reminiscing about the past and wanting to go back, but ultimately realizing that you wouldn't change a thing. There's lines specifically that say, "Take me back to those times." That line keeps getting repeated over and over again, and then finally it ends with, "I wouldn't change a thing." I think this is Aphmau's whole character arc. She tries so hard to go back to those times because she wants all this tragedy to end, and then finally at the end of the season, she realizes that she wouldn't change anything at all, and that's when she finally faces the comet. She's come back to her own realm to protect it, because she will live, not in her perfect reality, but in the one that she made memories in. Now, not to toot my own horn, but I really like this theory, and I think it ties really well with what's been established already, and I think it's pretty satisfying as an end of a story. But what about the wolf mask? Well, this is maybe how Aphmau was able to become strong enough to destroy the comet. As it was stated before by Elizabeth, the demon warlock was just supposed to get the Ultima and turn into a relic. I think that just because this was mentioned in the after credit scene, it's gonna come back in a major way. And this of course ties back to what I was saying about Aphmau healing Eren from everything, because we already know that she can heal his scars, so maybe she can even heal his curse. Eventually, probably, I don't know. I truly think that Aphmau fully tries to heal Eren and actually takes away his curse. And that's why she holds the wolf mask, because she was able to heal Eren from everything except his memories. I also think that the only way to really destroy the comet is to have the power of the Ultima, because Elizabeth specifically says you were just supposed to get the power of the Ultima. Unless, you know, they tried pulling up Demon Warlock and stealing everyone's souls again, but I don't think they're gonna do that. Of course, I don't have any proof for this, of course, and this is all just speculation, but it's fun to think about. I could be 100% wrong at the end of the day, and maybe the story's a lot simpler than we think it is. It's hard to say. There's a lot of clues out there, so let me know what you all think in the comments below. What do you think about my theories? Do you agree? Do you have a better idea on how the story will play out? Is there anything I missed? And please let me know. I read all my comments. And with all that, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!